Yo, 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 what is up? What is up, YouTube boxing family? It is K right here. I'm back at it with another good video for you guys today. Oh man, sorry. Oh, just getting tired. I'm already in like my sleep mode, so the pills are gonna kick in, and I'm gonna try to make this as short as possible. But yeah, man, let's get right into it. We have Mr. Isaac Pitbull Cruz versus Gervonta Tank Davis in a potential rematch. Um, I'm just gonna say, my piece of why I don't want to see a rematch between Gervonta Davis and Isaac Pitbull Cruz, only because of a couple reasons, and I think it's very easy for me to say that Isaac Cruz and Gervonta Davis are on two different avenues when it comes to their skill level, and I would say that when it comes to Tank, he's kind of wasting his time fighting Isaac Cruz because he's not a up and coming lightweight. I don't think Pitbull is that good of a lightweight to begin with, just simply because that PBC, they've been giving him a lot of soft touches. If you do look at, the pattern of opposition he's been fed, he's basically been given sacrifices. His only difficult fight was against that Argentinian dude, but that Argentinian guy, he couldn't punch, so Pitbull was just being frustrated in that fight, and it really just ended up being more of just like a little chess match that just ended up being Pitbull winning the fight, but that was pretty much it. I mean, the rest of the fights, like, Diego Magdaleno, Francisco Vargas, who else? Zerdito, Eduardo Ramirez. I was very disappointed in Eduardo Ramirez because he doesn't usually get beat up like that, and knowing that Luis Melendez actually gave him a very difficult fight, in which I thought that Luis Melendez could have edged it out to beat Zerdito, because Eduardo, he's not that good of a boxer, but it's like he can give you a good fight if he's willing to be mechanically educated in the fight, or technically educated in the fight, to actually work on the things that he makes mistakes in a fight. But in this fight with Pitbull, he just thought like he could just like basically allow Pitbull to just come in and not expect that power to just hurt him. So he came into that fight very, uneducated with his defense, and he just wanted to just swing for the fences to hopefully try to land something on Pitbull. But then once Pitbull hit him, it was just a whole different level of just punch resistance gone wrong. And Eduardo Ramirez, he just made himself look like a fool, because I guarantee you, the fight before that between him and Luis Melendez, he was not doing that type of stuff with Luis Melendez. Melendez was actually tagging him, and he actually was given the respect of Zerto's power, and Zerto wasn't able to just walk in on Melendez. He actually had a very difficult time trying to land his shots, and then when Luis allowed him to just go in there and start scoring on body shots and some decent, punches to actually hurt Luis, in which Luis, he took the shots very well, because Zerto, he's not a bona fide power puncher. He's just a volume, he's a semi-volume puncher at best, but he probably thought that he could do the same thing to Pitbull, but the problem is that Zerto was not using any boxing technicality whatsoever, and he just basically ran into, a bunch of dumb shots that just got him stopped by Pitbull. So I don't know, man. I think based off of what we're seeing out of the whole Isaac Pitbull hype job, dilemma, I think all these opponents are just being paid off to just basically be just basically taking dives. I think these opponents that Pitbull have been fighting, they're all bums. They're not high class caliber level lightweights. For Francisco Vargas, he was a former super featherweight world champion. He was never a career lightweight fighter. Diego Magdaleno, yeah, Jesse Magdaleno's brother, who never had a career to begin with, and he was always a garbage fighter. He got knocked out by Teofimo Lopez. Yeah, the same Teofimo Lopez that got his ass beat by George Kambosos. And, arguably he could have lost to Lomachenko. But on top of that, you mean to tell me Pitbull, his resume is that good? And then his only notable win is basically, I would even say Zerdito. Like, that's probably like the only name out there in which Zerdo, he basically just sold himself to get knocked out. He just came to lay down. He just, he didn't, he did not come to win this fight. If Zerdo wanted to win, he would have done a lot better coming into this fight, and Pitbull would have been tested. He would have been hurt. He would have been punched a lot harder, and Zerdo would have done something like Zerdito would have had more game in his skill set to actually give Pitbull a very difficult fight. But the fact that he did not do that really shows that Pitbull is not that good of a fighter. He's obviously being handpicked for fighters that stand right in front of him. The only reason why I don't like this rematch with Gervonta Davis is because of a couple of reasons. The first reason being that Gervonta Davis already beat him, so why just basically waste your time, like I said earlier, where Tank is just going to go out there and he's just going to put on a pretty good performance, and he's just, he's going to get the job done. Like, he's not coming to play no games, man. Like, people really got to stop getting these fighters hurt. But I'm gonna be the first one here to say that the minute Tank actually hits Cruz, and when Cruz actually feels the whole difference in power that Gervonta has with both hands, it's a whole different level, because Gervonta, he's a bona fide boxer puncher. And when Tank uses his punching ability with pure boxing to have 100% focus IQ or focus ring IQ, in which he did it amazing in the first fight against Cruz, and Cruz made him... Cruz looked very confused and looked very mentally defeated in that fight. He had no plan B, no plan C. He looked very confused. He arguably got embarrassed by Tank, in which a lot of people would discredit that to say, oh, Gervonta, he's not that good because he didn't get the knockout. The reason why Tank did not get any of... the reason why Gervonta has not had knockouts with Isaac Cruz, and then the other one being some other dude that I forgot his name, but basically out of all of his opponents, he arguably stopped every single one of them because they could not handle the immense pressure and the immense boxing ability that Tank increases on you over time, in which Gervonta Davis is a very destructive boxer puncher. That's why I say Southpaws run boxing. You can't F with us, you can't mess with us. We're too deadly. There's certain levels to a southpaw in which not a lot of boxers understand, but for me at least, I do my studying to basically know when I see a southpaw that's a different breed of an echelon of skill versus from other southpaws. They're southpaws that are level that are like D level or C level. Like, they're not like super duper good yet, but it's like, they're just basically on the beginner path. And then there's those like super high S tier Southpaws that are very, very deadly. They already have their skills set in stone, and they're basically just upper echelon genetic breed Southpaws. Like, they're just naturally, gifted at what they do. That there's certain levels to the totality and the deadly skill set that they possess as a fighter. So, I mean, I'll make a video on that if you guys want me to. I'll probably do that one of these days, just to explain the certain levels of a Southpaw / Orthodox fighter. But I'll just do Southpaws first, and then I'll do Orthodox later, because I like breaking down boxing styles, and I like talking about the different styles that every fighter possesses. But for Gervonta Tank Davis, he's a mid-range to long-range counter-puncher, boxer-puncher southpaw. He has deadly power, very similar to Deontay Wilder. He doesn't need to be perfect all 12 rounds. He only needs to be perfect for 1 second. Not even a second, just a millisecond. If Gervonta, like, hits you with, like, the lesser portion of his glove, and it doesn't even hit your face, but it hits your glove, to the point where it like like the punch just goes right through it, and then it just basically demolishes something out of your physicality that affects your health. That just shows that Gervonta Davis, he's a different breed. Like, there's something out of a certain physical mindset you have to have going into a boxing fight, where not every opponent is going to be the same. But the minute when somebody puts you in a mindset where you have to go through the tunnel vision, well, not even the tunnel vision, you have to go through the storm that some trainers like to say, you got to weather the storm. When you go through that bludgeon mindset, which I call it basically the Ring of Fire, or you go through the Art of War, or you go through the war mentality, or the war of psychology, that is when your inner spirit gets tested, as a person. Like who are you as a person outside of the sport, and what makes you wake up in the day to say that this is what you do. Because in any other sport, a lot of athletes have a lot of confidence in what they do, because they're bred into the sport with a team. And the only sports that don't have a team is boxing and MMA and wrestling. Those are sports where you have to build your team with your mind. Your mind is your team, and your body is your player. That's your summoned character coming into the fight. But either way, I just don't think that Gervonta Davis should be fighting Pitbull, because Davis, he's a very destructive fighter. I think Gervonta, he's going to be wasting his time with his career away. And the only reason why I would ever say that PBC and Showtime want this fight again is because Gervonta, he's not willing to come to the table to try to make the fight with Devin Haney. I'll be the first one here to say, out of not so many people, to think that Gervonta Davis, he's avoiding Devin Haney. I don't think Devin Haney is being treated with any probable respect. And the fact that you got idiots like Isaac Pitbull Cruz that will say, I want to fight Devin Haney, but yet I want to fight Gervonta Davis because I want to bring back I want to bring back that belt that he has back home to Mexico. Like, just shows you how stupid these lightweights are in the lightweight division. So Pitbull, please answer this to me, for anybody that is at a Pitbull's camp, or anybody that lives in Mexico that understands the retardation of Isaac Pitbull Cruz. You mean to tell me that he considers Devin Haney as an interim champion while he is undisputed in the lightweight division? but he will be the first to say that he would rather fight Gervonta Davis, in which he has no real title, but people want to call this secondary title bullshit a real title. Gervonta Davis is not a 3-division world champion. Gervonta Davis is a 1-division world champion. If you become a champion, there should be one face, one name, one person, no sanctioning body, just a fighter that represents their skill set to be the man of their division. And I've said this countless times on my other channel that got censored down by YouTube. F you, YouTube. I said that if boxing never had sanctioning bodies and boxing focused on just having athletes represent themselves as fighters to be their own bosses, and we had like a national fight league of similar to like the NBA in a way, but the thing is that fighters, you cannot avoid competition. You have to fight the best to be the best. And how boxers represent themselves on a universal level, you have to fight the best. If you don't want to fight the best, you're not going to be recognized as the best. So matchmaking is determined by the consumers. Where if we say that, let's just say in the lightweight division, we already consider Devin Haney as the undisputed champion. So if there was like an NBA fight league that was universally recognized, where the competition of, competing promotional businesses, let's just say promotional companies were networks that came together, like Top Rank, PBC, DAZN, Triller, Boxer, Box.tv, Fight.tv, all these networks can come together and they can easily bring the fights on a massive nationalized network level. The NBA does this all the time. They'll bring their games all the way out to other countries like France. They'll bring it out to Mexico sometimes. Obviously, not all the time, but usually whenever NBA does go global, they go out to the UK. Everybody knows who the best players are in the NBA. And granted, you can tell me, well, that doesn't, equate to boxing, because boxing, that's all talent that's being limited in basketball, where the best are very few, the very few of the best players around the world and on a domestic level in the United States are selected through either the NBA draft or through the draft combine or through the undrafted process of going through the G League and whatever. So, for boxing, you can get into the sport as like some poor, good for nothing homeless person, and if you're like some crackhead and you want to get into like the sport and you want to become like a professional fighter, yeah, all you need to do is just get your fighting license, find yourself like a trainer, or more so, no, you don't really need like a trainer. You could just go ahead and fight, with like no corner, in your basically nobody in your corner, and you could just go ahead and just get beat up by somebody that could very well stop you, or you could stop them. But it's like, that's just how boxing is, because it's like, it's such a disorganized sport where the state gets involved and there's no proper management of fighters that could actually be their own bosses. See, now, if boxing had something like that with an organized league that gave you the proper management, in which I'm not to say that fighters should have somebody take control of them. Fighters should be their own bosses. But if you don't like to be the boss and you want somebody to basically make the work easier for you to just come in and fight, and if you want to be, a promotional star of your own, you should still have those resources available to you, because if you don't understand the business too well, you should have like a good management company of a competitive marketized system that should be there and available for you to say, hey, come to our management company. We'll help you out. We'll set up your fights. We'll promote you. You don't need to pay any promotional fees to us other than just give us, the set amount of rates that we want from you. We'll hook you up with like your gyms. We'll hook you up with your, with like your meal plans. Like, that's what I would say out of a good boxing organization like that, where you have competitive management businesses that get together to help fighters grow. That's a good system. But you do not need promoters and sanction bodies in the sport. The only thing that fighters need is a good management behind them. That's it. And then, if you could have a boxing organization on a national or universal scale of some sort, which, this is all just like a spitball idea, but like, if you had like a universal, boxing league of all the competitive fighters going at it, where they get paid good money, but you're getting paid to fight the best opposition, I would pay for that. Or if networks want to create their own leagues, like the PBC, where everyone says, "Oh, PBC fighters are only limited to fight their own, PBC banner stable," which isn't true because PBC picks up anybody that comes into the stable, and if they see like a good matchup, like a Tim Tszyu, versus Jermell Charlo. Tim Tszyu, he was never signed to PBC. He was always coming, he was always fighting on domestic, cards out in Australia. But the only reason why he came over to the PBC is because people saw interest in him and his name grew on a massive scale. So the PBC picked him up to say, "Hey, we'll give you a deal where you come in, where we're going to give you some tough opposition, but if you beat these guys, we'll pay you more money. But if you lose, either one of like your fights, then guess what? We're still going to support you, but we're going to give you, the opportunity." But that's something that, the UFC does on a constant basis. They give you the set amount of opponents that you want to fight, but you have to go by the rankings. You can't just go by who you want to fight. See, like in boxing, matchmaking is all determined by who you want to pick and choose. You don't have the option to do that in MMA, because matchmaking in MMA, depending on the promotional banner that you fight under, you can't do that. So the thing is that matchmaking in all of boxing needs to be marketized, where if you want to choose to be a duck and go ahead and fight some low-level competition for you to just beat up on, then you should not become a world champion at all. And championship belts, without sanction bodies, they should be deserved to the fighters that have been putting in that work to be to be the greatest. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's just how I see it. Like, I don't like to see no damn Triple G fighting, a bunch of nobodies, and people want to call him a world champion because, he's making his bullshit mandatory defenses. Get the fuck out of here. No, like, nobody doesn't want to see that. So, fast forward, or, going back to Gervonta Tank Davis and Pitbull Cruz, nobody doesn't want to see this fight. Nobody's not going to watch Gervonta Davis blow out Pitbull Cruz. Because if he knocks out Pitbull, guess what's going to happen? They're going to just write him off. They're going to say, "Oh, Pitbull, he wasn't shit. He wasn't that good of a fighter." They're going to do, the same thing that Jose Valenzuela's getting. "Oh, Valenzuela, he's not that good because he lost to that Dominican nobody, man. He was never that good. Fuck him. Blah, blah, blah." No, Valenzuela, he's a good-ass fighter. It's just that he got outclassed. That's why. So, with Gervonta Davis, if he beats up Pitbull and he breaks him and annihilates him, what are people going to say? Explain that to me. To the fools in the back, or to the to the mentally retarded idiots in the back. When Gervonta destroys Isaac Pitbull Cruz, what are people going to say when Pitbull Cruz fans can't have a leg to stand on when Gervonta destroys him? And I'm not dick riding Tank. Like, I don't like what Tank has been doing lately, for him, quote unquote, avoiding Devin Haney, which I think he is avoiding Devin. But with this fight brewing up between him and Pitbull in a potential rematch, what makes anybody think that Pitbull is going to come with any different game plan other than just try to do the same thing he did to Tank in the first fight. There's nothing that I could ever see Pitbull do to be victorious against Tank. But on top of that, why would you want to pay more money? Yeah, like what makes any idiot think that you're gonna go out to go see Tank destroy Pitbull? And I mean, even if at the fight, in the second fight becomes more competitive, in the first fight, but Tank, he actually goes in here and he actually hurts Pitbull, and let's just say he drops him, or he just basically brutally beats him up to the point where Pitbull does not look like the same guy anymore. Then that pretty much explains that, Gervonta Davis, he's just like, he needs to upscale his competition, man. Like, the time is now. He's about to be 28 very soon in November, I think. But it's like nobody don't want to see you against Isaac Pitbull Cruz, man. Everybody gonna be pissed off at you. Everybody's gonna most likely just boo at you. If you look bad against Cruz, or even if you do good against him, but then people will still say, nah, man, Pitbull should have knocked Tank out in the second fight, man. And people will always find a way to discredit Gervonta Tank Davis. But until he fights Devin Haney, Shakur Stevenson, all these high-level Black American talented names, he can easily get away from that criticism, and he doesn't need any of those good-for-nothing, despicable critics. And I mean, he never, he doesn't listen to them. He just does what he has to do. But it's like his actual critics, like myself, like we're on his neck. Gervonta is not doing himself any justice by just wasting his prime away by fighting, low-level opposition like Pitbull. And I mean, I'm not saying Pitbull doesn't have a chance to win, but it's like, what makes you think Pitbull is going to make any adjustments? And to think that if this fight does go the distance, you mean to tell me Javonte Davis is going to lose on the cards if Pitbull fights a lot more aggressive compared to the first fight? And then if Tank actually sleeps him or drops him, and if it does go to the distance and Tank still wins, people will still call that shit to be like a robbery? No. There is no way you could do that, because Gervonta Davis has never had a split decision victory. Almost every single one of his almost every single one of his, well, no, like he's only gone the distance twice. Like, that's with Pitbull and who else? Some other Mexican dude that I don't know, but it's like Gervonta Davis does not let it go to the judges. He usually ends up destroying people. Oh, and now Pitbull said to Cruz recently, "Come on, don't run." Oh my God. So, wow. It's just crazy, man. It's like, things are brewing up now. Everything's getting a lot more tribal, and we don't know what's gonna happen, man. It's gonna be very, very interesting to see what happens. But yeah, Gervonta Davis, he's only gone twice to the distance with people, and the first time he ever went to the distance was against who was it? I'm trying to find the opponent. It's so hard to find. It was against Herman Ivan Miraz, and he actually dropped him in round 3 and 5. So he wasn't able, to stop him. But yeah, I mean, Gervonta Davis, he's a bona fide power puncher, man. So yeah, those are my thoughts, man. I'll see you guys later. Let me know what you guys think, and I'll see you guys. But I mean, if this rematch does happen, don't buy the pay-per-view, man. So I'll see you guys. Peace out. Bye.